Hello and welcome to another episode of Hats Off Games. Today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different here. We're actually going to be looking at a PC game called Neo Scavenger. Now, basically this is going to be a noob's guide by a noob. I have actually put quite a few hours into the gameplay here, probably a total of 12 to 14, I'm not certain. But I've spent many late nights playing this game. Now, an expert by no means. I haven't gotten very far into the game. There is a story that goes with this, and you can follow that story and actually come to an end game. So I've never gotten that far before, but I do feel that I know enough to basically help somebody who has not played this game, get a good start. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're going to go ahead and click on New Game. Okay, so we start the game off looking at a screen where we're going to actually be able to pick our skills. These skills are going to determine what we are good at in this game world. Now, I'm not going to go through in detail on each one of these. You can pause it right now and take a look. It's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. There are a few things in here that give you some advantages at certain parts in the game. There are certain skills here that allow you to do things that you can't do without that skill. So they can change the game flow and how you play pretty dramatically. So, so we're just going to kind of pick my character right now, and just basically what I usually normally go with, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I always pick trapping. Trapping is very important. Basically what it's going to allow you to do is when you actually attack and defeat an animal, you're going to be able to cut that animal up and get some meat from it. Now, you can do that without the trapping skill, but with the trapping skill, you also have the ability to get some more fur. Basically, you get more product from the kill. Now, also, when you're cooking that meat that you get from your kill, using trapping and a couple other ingredients, you can also cure your meat. Basically, that's going to allow it to last longer before it spoils. So, I like choosing I like to choose trapping, and then it does also have another benefit, and I'll show that in the very beginning of the game, probably in the next video. So the other one I'm going to pick is the mechanics skill. I like the mechanics skill for a couple of reasons. There are, right in the very beginning of the game, you can actually create a vehicle. Now, it's not a vehicle that you get to drive around or anything like that. It's a vehicle that you can use. It's basically a sled that you're going to create out of big branches and some string and some small branches, and you carry it behind you. Basically, it allows you to carry more loot. So loot in this game is extremely important. So I always try to pick the mechanics skill from the very get-go. I just have tons and tons of room to put things that I find. So we're going to go with mechanic. Now, if you see here in the upper right-hand corner of each of these skills, you're going to see these little squares. Basically, that is how much each of these skills cost in order to choose it. We start off with 15 points. I chose the trapping, which is 4. So now we've got 11 left. Mechanic, 3, gives us 8. So the other ones that I like to choose, with the 8 left that I have, is tough. Basically, I'm going to be able to take more damage. I'm going to be less vulnerable to sickness, which is a horrible way to die in this game. You can spend hours building your character, and then he gets sick and dies. So toughness, I think, is really well worth it. Also, melee. Melee is kind of self-explanatory in regards to when you are attacking with melee weapons, then you're just going to do a better job. You're going to do more damage. You're going to hit more often. But also with the melee, it allows you to create a weapon that you could not create without having that melee ability. And I'll show you that in the next video as well. But now I'm at 0 points. But I still want one more thing on here. I want my lock picking. And in order to do that, I'm going to look at these skills. Now, these are basically negatives, so these hinder you. Now, myopia is the one that I choose. Basically, in the game world, it's all hex-based. Myopia is going to basically cut down one of the hexes from your line of sight, so you're going to see less, which is, it can hinder the gameplay a bit in regards to knowing your surroundings. But it's something that you can actually mitigate while you're in the game. When you find a binoculars or a scope, you can actually use those to kind of counteract that. I want this point. So when I choose a negative here, it's going to give me a point that I can use up here. Also with this, I choose metabolism. Metabolism as a negative, as you see, it's also up here as a positive. It's grayed out now because I've chosen the negative version of it. But metabolism here, basically, I need to drink and eat more food, but my healing rate increases. So I always figure that I can find more food and find more water in the game, but it's harder to make myself heal faster. So I think this is really a good deal here. To have to just get more food and more water, and it gives you 2 more points. So now I have 3 points to get my lockpicking. Lockpicking essentially is going to assist me in the game finding more loot. I'm going to be able to create lockpicks, and there are certain buildings that you search where you can use these lockpicks to increase the amount of loot that you can possibly get. So here's my character. I've used these set of skills quite often through many playthroughs, and I've been pretty successful. Most of the time when I die, it's because I've done something stupid, really, is what it comes down to. I fall asleep without putting up a noise trap, something along those lines, and you just die. Or I try to attack somebody who's got a gun, and they just shoot me, and I'm dead. And this is a rogue-style game, so when you die, you lose everything. You start the game over. You can invest many hours into this game and lose it all because of one stupid mistake. So this is a skill set that I really like, and I enjoy the game when I play with this skill set. It really goes with my play habits. So that's what I like. Now, once you figure out exactly the type of individual that you want to be and the things you want to be able to do well in the game, you go ahead and click on Confirm. There is a story behind this game. Basically, I'm not going to go into the details. You can pause it right now and read this if you would like to. Not going to. But basically, you wake up in a cryo chamber. Now, your chamber has broken, and there's glass around here. Here's a window that is also broken. The graphics, obviously, are very basic, but it's all about the play, and I love the way this game plays. Now, one thing I do want you to be aware of here is how you're going to interact with everything here. Now, we're given a situation through this story. Now, here are our options. It says it right there, options for this encounter. We can jump out the window right there, because we have a creature coming towards us, so that's one of the options. We can just bail, get out. We can also use our mechanic skill to block this door so the creature can't come in and get us. Or we can use our melee skill, and we can fight this creature. Now, if I did not choose either one of these skills, but I chose other skills, I might have different options. Electrician, that has a skill where you actually manipulate the door using the computer. So you lock it in that fashion. So you can change the way the game plays. I choose melee in the beginning for a few reasons, but this is one of them. Because I want to fight this dogman that's coming after it, this creature. So what I do is I go ahead and select the option that I want for this encounter. It puts it into this box where it shows my chosen options, and then I'm going to confirm that. So now I'm going to fight. So it says right here, prepare to fight it. And when you hover the mouse over these options, it does give you a little display of what you are actually going to be doing with that skill in this encounter. So melee, I'm preparing to fight. So I'm confirming that. There is the nasty dogman. And basically, the game starts the same. If you have that melee and you fight the dogman, you will win. You will get a little beat up, but you do beat it. So I've confirmed that, and I'm going to confirm this message as well. And now we are back in the cryo chamber. Now we have some more options. We're just standing in a room. What we can do is we can search the console for records, or we could jump out the window. Let's go ahead and search the console for records. I click on that, brings it over into the chosen options section. I confirm. This is the data that I find on that terminal. We now have our options. We can look at the terminal, or the console, which we've already done, or we can jump out the window. So let's climb out the window. Now it's showing us the outside view of this cryo chamber, and you can see that it's all overgrown and everything's broken, so it looks like it's been abandoned for quite some time. Feel free to read that now if you'd like. Go ahead and pause it. So this is going to be your main map, your main screen that you're going to be interacting in this world with. So we can see our character here, right in the middle. We have our fog of war. We also have our line of sight. So right now my character can see one space around me because of environmental conditions, because of my eye condition, the myopia that I chose earlier, and then line of sight. So we've got something here blocking my sight. We have something here blocking my sight. Now it's going to be woods. Those are the things that block your sight. And so we know they have the woods right there. You're also going to notice on this map, in each of these different hexagons, we've got little icons. So this icon here in this hexagon is a little box, the little brown box. When you see that icon, it means there is something on the ground that you can just go and pick up or look at or do whatever you want with, but there's something there on the ground. So there's something in this one, there's something in this one, there's nothing in this one. So this is just empty. The one I'm standing in, here's our character again, he's got that box, so there's something on the ground, but he also has this magnifying glass. You'll also see this magnifying glass in the hexagon right next to it. What this magnifying glass indicates is that this hexagon is actually searchable. What I want to do now is just kind of go over all of the different things we see to our left. Depending on your screen resolution and how you have your display set up, some of these might be split off onto the right. Starting at the top, we have our main menu. Here we can go back to where we kind of started from almost. We can save and quit the game. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this game is a rogue style game, which means when you die, that save is gone. It goes away. You have to start the game over. So be careful in what you do. We also can just resume the game. We can mute all sound. And then we can go to our options here, and we have different resolution options, volume. I'm going to go ahead and turn down the master volume a little bit. We've got where we can limit our frames per second. If we're having any sort of play issues, we can do this. And then, of course, we have some more things that we can play with in regards to your resolution and how it looks on your screen. So go ahead, feel free to play with those. You can always bring them back, reset it to the basics, and then kind of decide what's going to be best for you and your setup. So let's go ahead and get back onto this screen. Now we're going to see moves left. We've got 5, and that's a 0.00. There are certain actions that take less than one full move, so that's why we got the 0.00. So when you look here and you hover your mouse over it, it'll say base moves, you have 5 per turn. But since we are not wearing shoes, we get a -1. So we can only move 4 spaces right now. But we still have 5 moves in order to do other things. So we could craft, and we'll get to crafting later. But let's go ahead and just keep going down the list here. So the first one you see is sated hunger. Now that is going to actually change depending on how hungry you are. So it can change to hungry, starving, and just kind of indicate where you are as far as your food intake. So you got the green bar. Green means good. Also on the right-hand side, you're going to see this little arrow. It's a green arrow, and it's pointing to the right. So basically, when it's pointing to the right, that means things are good. They're headed in the right direction. So we have no hunger because we are full with a green bar here. So we have no hunger, so we're great with food right now. Same with thirst. You can see here it's slaked. So basically, that means that you are not thirsty at all. That will go down as time goes down, and it will go dehydrated, sick with thirst, etc. And then you'll see this change as well. Well rested. So this is going to affect how much you can carry, how much you can move, your fatigue level when you're fighting. So it's important to keep yourself well rested. Also, without any thirst or without any hunger, because they do have negative effects on your ability to interact with this world. Right below is unburdened. It can also say burdened. It just kind of depends on the level. But we can see here this one's actually got a red arrow, and it's pointing to the left. That means that things are getting heavier. Things are not getting lighter. So if I pick something up, this is going to go down a little bit. So so you want to keep an eye on that, and eventually this will get orange, and then red means very, very bad. So orange is kind of your middle level, and it's going to affect what you can do and how fast you can move, things like that. Comfortable. Basically what that means is that currently I am comfortable. This can become uncomfortable. This can then get freezing. Then it can also say hypothermia. Because this weather, and we can see right now that it is raining, affects the character dramatically. So right now you can also see the character, he's not wearing very much. I'm comfortable still, but as turns go on, I'm sure that will decrease, because when we look below that, we're going to see our outdoor temperature. This is cold on the left, like freezing cold. And you can see if you hover over it, it says I'm getting colder. Now this does have a green arrow pointing to the right, and things are getting better, but that could change. Especially, the longer we go without putting clothes on to keep us warm, this is going to basically make things colder for us. We're going to become more uncomfortable, and eventually we can die of hypothermia. Below this is basically your life. So you can see we are in pain currently. It'll give current status. And we can see that it was on the down. And that is because we got in that fight with that dogman creature. So right now we're in pain, and we'll take a look at the medical screen in just a little bit here. Right below that, we've got $0. We start with nothing. Now, currency does exist in this post-apocalyptic world. The way to gain that currency is by scavenging and selling goods. And then you can also create goods by crafting and sell those as well. There are a couple different places on the map where you can sell items, and those items are always at the same price, so there's no bartering or anything like that, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so right now we start with 0. Below that, we end our turn. So once you move, let's say 4 spaces, or you use all your 5 movement points, or the combination, then your turn is over. You'll see your options kind of go away, and then at that point you'll need to hit end turn, or you can press the space bar and then it'll move on. The rest of the world takes their turn, and then it's your turn. So it is a turn-based game. Below that is rest and heal. Basically, that means that you're just going to stop doing anything until you are fully healed up and fully rested. Now, this means that your hunger can decrease or increase, I should say, but the bar will decrease, and you get hungrier and you get thirstier as you just stand there waiting for you to heal up. But that is an option if you're, willing to do so. I don't use it very often, really. Running. Basically, you're going to just run a little bit faster. I can't, honestly, I would say I've never used that either. If you are actually following deer and you're looking for a meal, or you're following a person and you want to steal their backpack or whatever it is you might see, you might want to run, help you catch up to them. It is going to make you fatigue a little bit faster, but you will see that indicated up here. Hiding. So let's say that you got some people with guns around you, and you really don't want to interact with those people. You can hide. It's going to use extra moves, but you're moving stealthily. So it's harder to be observed, and less likely somebody's going to try to track you down and follow you. So that can be pretty beneficial if you're not doing too well, your health is low, or you really don't have a good weapon. Hide tracks. Basically, when you move around, you leave tracks. And people with that tracking ability that we looked at earlier during the character creation, they can follow those tracks. So it's kind of nice if you've got some good stuff, you're trying to escape from some bad guys, then you can hide your tracks, make it a lot harder for them to follow you. Spying, I very rarely use that, but basically it takes 1 full movement point. It allows you to spy on an adjoining hex. So if there's a character right here, it basically gives you more information on what that character is doing, and kind of can help you decide if you want to attack that character, move away from that character, or talk to the character. Below that is the one that you're going to be using the most often, and it is Scavenge. So Scavenge, basically, like we were talking about before, the magnifying glass. When you are on top of a hex that has that magnifying glass, and you have movement left, then this option will be here, to Scavenge. And that will allow us to do that. And we'll do that in just a moment here. We'll actually do that in our next video, to be honest with you. Now, right below that, we have our main map. This is the main map. You can see that little green dot right there. That means it is active. Here's the hexes. Here's the hexes. So this is the main map. When you want to get to this screen, this is what you're going to be clicking on. Now we've got our zoomed out mini map, or the world map. Now let's go ahead and click on that. You see the green dot has changed. And here we are in the mini map. As we move around, the fog of war will decrease and decrease and decrease. It's a pretty large map. There's a few things going on here. There's not a ton. There's random cities, random little neighborhoods, but then there are set items or set places. They're always on the map. So there's parts of the map that are always static, and there are parts of the map that are always random. Excuse me. Apologize for that. So let's go ahead and go back to our main map here, and we're going to keep on going down. Down here, we've kind of go into our more personal who we are type of a stack of things, of options. The first one is going to be our skills. From here, we can see, hey, this is who we are. This is what we got. Now, you can't really do anything in this screen, but basically, if you have forgotten if you have lockpicking, or if you have forgotten, what your skill setup was, this would be the place to go and check it out. Now, the one here, we've got a hammer and a little wrench. So that basically is our crafting screen. And I'll definitely get into crafting later. but into more detail. But here are recipes you can choose from. Looks like quite a few, but some of them are just kind of parts of another one. Some you'll never use, but they're just there. It's kind of handy. And also throughout the world, you can find other recipes to increase what you can create. And then this is the ingredients that we have available to us right now. This includes what is in your inventory and also what is on the ground. Now remember, we killed that dog man, so here's the dog man corpse. Here are some glass shards from that broken window, and this is what we're wearing around our neck. It's a bronze talisman, on a braided leather string. And that was around our neck when we woke up. Don't know anything about it. This was around our wrist, and it actually is labeled Philip Kindred. So basically, that's who we are, is Philip Kindred. So, and we're wearing this hospital gown. So basically, this is our inventory, those 3 items. And it is an available ingredient. And I'll get into details on how to take these ingredients, put them into this area to combine them to create certain items. It's pretty straightforward, but we'll get to it later. Next one down is our inventory screen. This is basically going to show our character, what we are wearing, what we have on the ground, and the different carrying items that we have. Basically, you can get bags, you can create bags, there are backpacks that you can carry, your weapons will be in the hand, and I'll show you kind of a little example here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this shard, and I just click on it, and then it just sticks to the cursor, and I'll explain the cursors in just a little bit here, but because we did skip that right there, but I'm going to go back to that. So, and then we pick it up, and then it shows over here, it's red. We can't put it there. We can't put it on our body. We can't put it on our wrist. Can't put it around our neck. But we've got these bright white hands, which means we can put it in one of our hands. Now I'm holding a shard of glass. This shard of glass also becomes a weapon. I'll explain this a little bit in a different video as well, once we get into a little more activity on the main map. But there's that. So we can't carry much. Right now we can carry 2 things. We got one in the right hand, and then something in the left hand, and now we're done. But this is we're overloaded. We're carrying this huge dog man. It is a big creature, and we will take advantage of that big creature in just the next video. Right below your inventory screen is the conditions screen. This is basically where you look at, how injured you are. So this is an indicator of your body, obviously, and here we're bleeding, and you can see the bleeding, and it'll actually have little icons of different extremes. So you could be just bruised and it'd be just this little like gray area, but you always have this lightning bolt. That means there's something going on in this area of the body. You get cuts here in your stomach, your arms, your shoulders, your head. But right now we are bleeding, but it's minor. So you hover over it, it says minor cut, minor bruising, minor bleeding, minor pain. But now these things can get infected. They can get worse. You can have internal injuries as well. And when you look over here, you'll see your current conditions, a list of them. So right now we're barefoot. So our conditions are pretty bad. That's the only thing is a negative. It's red. If it's green, that's a positive. But we'll fix that, and we'll fix that too a little bit later. Below the condition screen is the camp screen. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail right now. I'm going to wait until we actually get into the game, and I actually need to use this. This is basically where you sleep. And you can put things here basically to raise your sleep level so you get a better sleep. To raise your shelter level, again, you get better sleep. You sleep longer. And then also to increase your alertness. Because when you're sleeping, somebody can come up to you and just kill you. Just like that. Game over. So it's nice. You can set up different noise traps and up the alertness. So that's that. But we'll get into more detail later. And then the bottom here, this is our vehicle screen. Basically, this is just another inventory screen similar to this one. But this will have bags and backpacks and then things you can strap on your back. There's even straps on your other shoulder here. There's a certain bag you get for that. So there's a lot of inventory here. The vehicle screen, even though it shows a truck, you can't drive. There's no vehicles that you can drive in this game. You can't do anything like that. No bicycles, anything like that. This is for like you can find a shopping cart. You can find a plastic sled and put a string on it. And one thing is, as we spoke earlier when I created the character getting the mechanic skill, you can actually create a sled out of large branches and small branches and string, and then you just basically have a place to put more inventory. So this is just another inventory screen, but it's a separate object from what is on your body. So sometimes you have to drop this to fight, and then you have to remember to pick it up, And then, of course, everything has condition as well, so sometimes things will break. And we'll see things break later on in the videos. So that is pretty much the main items on the screen here. Now we also have your weather condition. Right now it is freezing, cloudy, and sleeting, and it is dawn. We don't know exactly what time it is, but we get, where the sun is. And as it goes from dawn to midday, you're going to see more of the hexes because the sun's going to come out, and the weather can change during the day. But basically this means that we're just going to get colder and colder until we die. And we're going to fix that in another video here. Now, I did want to go over our icons. So here we don't have icons because we only have this, cursors. We only have this one selecting cursor. That's all you need here. So let's go back into our inventory screen, and now we've got these cursors. The cursor you see right now, it's the cross. Basically, you single click on an item, it picks it up, and it's stuck to your cursor. Click again to let go of it. Any item here is going to allow you to do that. To change your cursors, there are hotkeys, but what you can do is you can click here, and it's basically going to cycle down the row of different cursors every time you click. Doesn't matter which one of these you click on. Now it's switched it to this arrow pointing one way and the arrow pointing the other. Basically what this means is a single click isn't going to have it stick to the cursor. Instead, it's going to move it to your inventory. So right there, one click, it moved it into my hand. If I had a bag, it could move it into the bag. Or if I'm carrying a bag in my hand, it can move it into there. There are certain things that can only go in certain containers. Liquids, they can only go in containers designed for liquids. So when you click, if this was water and I had a bottle here that was empty, click, the water would go inside of the bottle. So it's got some, some smarts in regards to that. But usually I like to keep it on the cursor with the X and just be totally in control of where I put stuff. Next cursor. This is the use cursor. So if there was sanitized water, I can just click, use it, click, use it, click, use it, click, use it. If there wasn't, then if I wasn't using this cursor, I would have to actually, because I'm on the cross, I'd have to right click, and then it gives me my options of what I want to do. Now if this was food or water, it would give me an option of use. So using this, if you have to drink a lot of water or eat a lot of food, you would go to this lightning bolt cursor and just click, 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 click. Makes things a little bit faster. Now let's say there's spoiled meat on the ground or just a bunch of shards of glass or stones, things you just don't want messing up your screen. Or if you have inventory here you just want to get rid of, you want to destroy it so no one else can get it. If you leave a weapon on the ground, someone else might pick it up and kill you with it. So if there's a weapon that I don't have use for, I like to destroy them. And you can do that by either right-clicking. See, there's a destroy option here, or a take and drop option. So there's a couple ways to do things. Cursor's the fastest. But here's a trash can. So you'll see on this shard of glass, I'm going to go ahead and click on it with the trash can, and it disappears. It is destroyed from the game forever. If I clicked on Dogman, it's destroyed from the game forever, and I would cry, and my character would probably die. And you'll see why. Dogman's very important, and we'll get to the crafting screen on how to use the Dogman. So that is the basis of the screens here. And I'll get into a little more of the details on moving inventory, what it looks like as I get more inventory. Right now I've got this. Now I'm totally naked. So I've got my hospital gown, and I've got my little bracelet thing that tells me who I am. And you can see here I've actually got two wrists I could put it on, or I could put it in my hand. And also there's later in the game there's something else you can put on your wrist, and there's things you can put on your face and put on your eyes. And then we've got these buttons. What these buttons do will automatically arrange whatever is here. So if I had a bag right here and there's inventory in it, I'd hit this button and it automatically kind of arrange everything for you. It kind of shoves it into a corner. So you'll see here, I'll put that down there, and I'm going to use Shift. There are some keyboard shortcuts, and we'll talk about that later. No. And so if I hold down Shift and click on it, it takes it apart. Not apart, but I'm sorry, there's a pile of them here. If you can see in the bottom right, there's a number 4. It used to say 5. So this is a stack of 4. You can stack certain items. Some items you can't stack, and some items you only have limits of how many you can stack together. So if you hit Shift and you click on that stack, it's only going to take 1 as opposed to taking the entire stack. So let's say these are all different items in our inventory, and they're all around. It's just kind of messy. You can just go ahead and click on this button, and it shoves it all up there, stacks what needs to be stacked, and just kind of clean things up. Makes it a little easier for inventory management, which this game is all about. So I want to thank you for watching this video. I know it's very different from what I said we were going to be doing here at Hats Off Games, but I was going to do another print and play game, and it's amazing how long it takes to do all the shooting and then the editing. The editing was insane. So I just haven't had time to do it. And I really wanted to put a video out there. I just recently got some comments on those Zombie in My Pocket videos. So I just wanted to put something else out there, and I decided, hey, let's just do a quick screen capture, do some minimal editing, and that way I can get something out there. And I've been playing this Neo Scavenger for a while now. I really enjoy the game. I love it, just to get people who have never seen it or have thought about it or have seen it but know nothing about it. Just give them a better idea of what this game is and how to play it. And but yeah, so this is the first video, and I'm going to do another one. I think in the next video we're going to go ahead. We're going to take care of Dogman. We're going to take care of our outdoor temperature situation being so cold. We're going to go ahead and also make our very first weapon, and then also our first storage container. And we're going to do that all in the next video. We're going to talk a little more about the crafting and kind of play with our inventory a little bit more. And then we're also going to be doing some scavenging as well. So thank you for watching another episode of Hats Off Games. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.